Yes, guys, it's Suki and Matt from Beyond the Stage, BGS TV, fueled by Explosive Ape and GSN. So, this episode a little bit different. We are going to do the recap because we've still got a few people to go through from the weekend just gone. Obviously, we had the Naturals in France. We had the Big Man Weekend, which was obviously a huge show with Mark Hector. I mean, look, in my eyes, stole the show with his return, which we will touch on that eventually. But today is going to be more focusing on the Pro Coach of the Award as well as the People's Coach Award. But Matt, obviously, any shows for you? I mean, anything go on this weekend?
No, mate, no. I've obviously kept up to date with everything that was going on. It looked like a very, very good weekend. So I'm looking forward to recapping that, actually, particularly the Open Bodybuilding show. Because obviously Lewis Breed, and there was a couple of UK guys in there. It was a great show. So that'll be a good episode.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Well, look, if there is a background noise, guys, it's because I'm in the space where at the moment my Wi-Fi still having some issues back in the flat. Should be fixed in the next week. We had the PCA Awards just gone. And I'll tell you what, mate, it was a nightmare. Like, this is how bad the Wi-Fi is where I'm at. Is the first few awards, I was getting videos up. But, mate, it was taking so long to load up. You know when you load up video on Instagram and you see the bar, it starts right at the bottom. And you're like, fuck hell, man. That looks like it would take about 20 minutes to get my little blue line all the way across to the other side. I was like, fuck it, man. I'm just going to have to stick with the photos. So thankfully, I had some guys, had the girls from Limitless Flow posing. So Time for Shine Bikinis, those guys, they were sending me pictures throughout the entire awards, which meant I could get the content out non-stop.
I did think you were very good at keeping up to date with what was going on. So yeah, I was thinking you must have had someone there sending them to you. So you did good. But there's nothing more frustrating. You don't realize how much you take internet for granted until you haven't got good internet. It's so frustrating.
It was annoying, but hopefully next year it'd be good if I could try and get over there. I couldn't make it this year. A plan would be to be there next year and get some of the content out in real time while I'm there in person, get the pictures I want. But I appreciate what the girls did and get the content over to me. I've just seen that PCA start posting some pictures. I'm really surprised they didn't actually post any content out on the day. I thought they would be doing the interviews, but literally the only way you found out who the winners were actually through my page or through the people that won. But you wouldn't know who won if you don't know all the nominees. So I'm surprised they didn't get any content out. Maybe it's just because
it did look like a good event, and I spoke to a few people that went, and they said it was a really nice, well put on event. So I think I'm the same as you. Next year I'm going to go. I'm in the middle of house moving at the moment, so it's just like a very hectic time here. But next year I think I'm going to go for sure.
Yeah, I heard from Elliot. He was telling me that it was really good vibes. Obviously, the Strom win. His quote at the end stole the show. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw some of it. What was the quote at the end?
So basically, Strom won the best supplement brand of the year.
Yeah.
And the last quote he dropped, which got the best reaction, was something. I'm gonna butcher it, but it was somewhere in the realms of that we're gonna carry on what we're doing and give the other guys something to copy.
Oh, that was it.
It was something like that, but it was clearly like. You knew what he wanted to drop, and that's the line that kept coming back to me. But yeah, it looked like great awards. I know Pure Elite, they've been doing the awards for quite a while after their World Championships, so it's good to see another federation doing something like this, especially given the fact that it was very much a free entry for all the pros plus an extra free ticket. So it is something that didn't look like it was given back to the athletes, to the competitors, to the coaches and sponsors, brands, all that. So I would love to see more shows do something similar. I doubt I'll probably ever see NPC, as in Two Bros, do something because that means actually forking out money. But fair play to PCA. It looked great, and I'm looking forward to see how that grows.
Yeah, like you said, I don't think it was a money-making exercise at all. It was just to give back, and it was a nice way for them to finish the season as well. So I expect they'll carry on doing it because it looked like a success.
One thing I forgot. I'm very surprised they didn't do two things. They haven't launched a PCA Hall of Fame yet because they've got such a strong history of some great competitors. I'm surprised they haven't got a Hall of Fame that they've recognised part of the awards and adding people to that PCA Hall of Fame. And secondly, they haven't done a Coach of the Year award. Now, am I to assume that's because Dan Welburn cleans up every single year and there's just no point? But yeah, they didn't do the Coach of the Year award. Part of me was thinking is, have they not done that because by doing that award, does that look like it's favoritism to a certain coach? And is the best way to stay non-political is just scrap that award completely?
Potentially, because PCA is slightly different to the NPC in the fact that the judging panel can also be coaches. So in NPC, you can't have any coaches on the panel. So potentially that's the reason, because like you said, they don't want them to seem like there's any sort of favoritism going on there. I don't know, maybe, or maybe they just want.
I think that's the reason. I think that's the reason. There's no way that award's going to happen anytime soon. And if it wasn't done on the awards night, so yeah. Okay, look, guys. Basically, the plan for today is we're going to go through the top 10 of the Pro Coach of the Year awards. But of course, we've got two of the guests. Matt is part of the People's Coach of the Award that goes to the public vote. And we're also going to bring in Guy Harding and also Michael Fox. So let's just bring in the guys in now. I can see Guy's there. And let me just bring in Fox. Guys, can you hear me just fine?
Yo.
Sorry, 2 seconds, boss.
And Guys, that looks like a jib is at. That looks like Unit 9.
Yeah,
or Unit, yeah.
7.
I see it exactly where he's at. Michael, mate, you all good?
I am all good, thank you. How are you?
All good, mate, all good. Okay, look, we're going to wait for guys to settle down because we have got a bit to go through. And what I really want to do first is before we go into the Pro Coach of the Year awards, I want to touch on each of you three. I'm going to drop one of the clients in regards to, obviously you guys are all nominated for the People's Coach Award. So once again, we had 240 coaches be nominated. I then had to go through the process of 2,000 odd comments to find the 12 males and the 12 females that secured the most votes.
Can you turn the music down just for a bit?
There we go, guys. He's not even prepared, man.
Are you in the middle of a workout, Guy?
That just finished. Got the pump in case you know I had to take the top off. I've just got to turn the music down.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm going to go to Michael first then. Because like I said, I want to jump to each of you guys, a quick little reflection of the season so far. But Michael, mate, first I want to jump to yourself because before we go to the Pro Coach of the Year awards, in fact, no, I'll touch on this a little bit later. But for yourself, Michael, obviously this season,
Season's done, mate.
I know, season's done. A couple of standouts for yourself. And look, I know there's going to be plenty of clients you want to touch on, but look, the reality is the two clients that stood out the most was, of course, Lizzie in getting the IP Pro card at such a young age. And, of course, Sophie in making her debut in competing, winning her Pro card PCA, and, of course, winning the Universe as well. I mean, they're the two standouts for myself. So I just want to touch on Lizzie very quickly as well, because 2025 looks like a very big year for yourself. You've already dropped some shows that Liz will be looking at, and of course you still get a roster of competitors that will be looking to develop themselves through the necessary federations. Talk to me a bit more about Lizzie and what we can expect from her next year.
I think for Lizzie is she just like any standard diehard bodybuilder, she absolutely loves the gym. Right, if she could spend anywhere in her life, she'd be in the four walls of the gym. So whether she competes, whether she is to just continue growing next year is still subject to change depending on where we feel that she's going to be. Lizzie and Sophie share something in common. They both come from a bit of a training background, both within kind of powerlifting, strong kind of man lifting as such, with previous sporting experience, so they can work relentlessly hard. With Lizzie this year, we obviously just towards her turning pro, we dripped into being assisted. She competed for the first time in 2023 with the UK DVFA under a previous coach, and they put her in a week. And then obviously she did the Two Bros British and so on, and she just missed out shy of it. And we kind of, I I basically approached her because Molly was doing her makeup, and Molly was saying how saddened she was, etc. And we just basically wanted to build a plan. And that plan then turned into Fastly, her doing a pro qualifier this year. Again, here on the screen, you can see where she took it. Like any amazing athlete, you usually find that they think they're shit. They generally think that they're worthless, their physique isn't anything, and it's very hard to try and confidently build their momentum up. But working with Lizzie is a piece of cake. She'll work harder than you ask her to, and she'll do more than you want her to. And I think you'll find that's generally the common theme with any successful athlete.
So is the plan still for her then the American shows next year? I think we mentioned about the summer period.
We with Lizzie we're not going to state the answer as a yes just because we're so unsure. I think we're probably likely we will see her on stage next year, but I'd like to leave the comment that it's more than likely going to be 2026, just based on where she wants to be. But leave that for speculation because again, there could be.
Yeah. Guy, one person I want to touch on for yourself, mate, is this lad. So you worked with can you still hear me, mate?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fildo, mate. How is everything with him?
Yeah, well, Phil's he likes to stay undercover, that's for sure. I actually think he's in the gym. No, he's not. But yeah, he's coming for 2025 for sure. He's just added so much size to what he's already had. I mean, he already had that like balloon and that pop. To me, men's physique when he walks on stage, he just wins because it's just a standout. Like you can't teach that. You can't grow how he is, if that makes sense. Like I get obviously a lot of other people come to me, oh, can you make me look like him? And the answer is no. Like that there is just how he is, his genetics. All the muscles just pop in the right way. He's got, in my eyes, the right amount of arrogance / confidence on stage as well that you need, but not too much. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't come on and it's like it's not too cocky. It's just more that correct amount of, confidence. But he should win his pro card straight away in my eyes. One person else I've ever said in my eyes that I could guarantee would get to Olympia, Dean White. He's there. I think Fildo as well is a guarantee to hit the Olympia stage.
So for next year as well, mate, because obviously I spoke to Fildo earlier this year, and IFBB looked like obviously the route he wants to go through. NPC, sorry. When do we expect to see him back on stage then?
Yeah, so at the moment we've got a bit of a little niggle that we're dealing with. But to be fair, it's his knee, so it's not too bad. But it will be, I reckon, around June-ish time. Like I said, he doesn't like to give out too much info, Fildo. So, but yeah, it'll be. We'll probably get an early qualifier in, then have to travel. I know he wants to do Japan. He wants to go over to the Japan show, but he's thinking now we'll get the pro card and then do the pro show in Japan.
So do we think that PCA is completely done? Because of course I still have my dream of hopefully seeing Fildo and Ike on stage one more time. Obviously Fildo doing a hat-trick last year, Ike doing the quadruple this year. But is it pretty much set that Fildo won't be returned to PCA and all eyes now is just get that pro card? And
I guess the only the goal is to get the pro card, to go IFBB, go to Olympia. That's the bigger any person's getting really in the bodybuilding world. It should be if they're in it. But he completed PCA really. So, I mean, why stick around in PCA? He's won it all. He did. Yeah. He won every show. He did. And yeah, Ike's amazing as well. It would be good to see that battle out, but I reckon Ike's probably time. He'll probably move over to the IFBB. He did one show last year, didn't he? The only way I can see it is if, for some reason, that the IFBB don't like his shape. I can't see that happening, but that's the only way I guess he would stay in PCA. He'll definitely be coming over to IFBB.
Matt Parker, I'm gonna have to ask. Look, but you know which guy I'm going to bring up here, mate, because you've got your own men's physique superstar that we're looking forward to seeing back on stage next year, and I think you already got some big expectations for him. Talk to me about Tamas.
So, mate, Tamas is like a mutant, basically. The amount he grows is actually scary. I do anticipate, within sort of like a 8-9 month period, we have put on around 15 kilos of muscle on his frame. And now we're at a point now where he can't grow anymore because I think he's going to be at his pro weight cap. Obviously, the goal is to get the pro card and then go into the pro division, similar to Guy, with Fildo. I do think Tamas has definitely the potential to get to the Olympia. So now it's just a case of fine tuning his physique and keeping him as balanced as possible and making sure he doesn't get too big. Because otherwise, they could, what it's like in NPC, mate. They are very particular. And if we keep growing him, he will get bumped up to classic. So it's a very, very fine line now. Like, he hasn't trained arms in ages. Leg training is down to once a month. So really, we're just focusing on areas which we need to focus on. But it's going to be exciting. And it'll be interesting if him and Fildo actually come up against each other again, because they did last year, of course, at PCA. Yeah. So it will be interesting if they do again. Likelihood is, it might be on the IFBB Pro stage when they do meet again. And that'd be really cool, man. I'd love to see that.
Are we still looking at the start of the season, so our March period?
Well, likelihood is yes. The tricky thing is with Tam, he gets ill almost every winter. So we're not saying like definitely we're going to do these shows. We're just going to get through winter as best we can because he always gets ill. We'll manage it and then we'll go from there. So we're not going to say like a set date, but it's roughly going to be early next year. Yeah.
All right, nice one. All right, look, guys, obviously, I just want to just jump on one of your clients each, because I know 2025 is going to be a big year for you guys, and you guys got some big hitters. And of course, on Friday, we've got the People's Coach of the Year Award, which, like I said, is very much voted by the public. We've got obviously you three, along with nine other lads, and of course, we've got the 12 females. But the one I want to jump on today was the Pro Coach of the Year Awards. I'm really keen to hear your thoughts. And also, I brought you guys on because for numerous reasons. I mean, there's a few people that just missed out slightly. Michael Fox was one of them, was so close. He's, of course, having a standout with Lizzie winning the pro card, Sophie having a terrific year, and, of course, having competitors across the entire roster of federations. So no doubt with 2025, I'm probably expecting to see exactly the same thing. For yourself, Matt, I imagine Tamas is going to be the one as well. I mean, you got others as well, but Tamas next year being one of the UK's hottest prospects in regards to look to achieve its pro card, and then already looking like somebody that can hang with the top pros in some of these European and also international qualified and international pro shows. And of course, with Guy, Fildo after cleaned up last year PCA, a lot of big expectations for him going into the potential NPC and IFBB routes, another potential IFBB Pro competitor. And look, every single weekend, we're seeing new pros for UK getting IFBB Pro status. So next year, I wouldn't be surprised as well it's going to be scary to think of the numbers of how many pros we could have. Matt, we spoke the other day about the men's physique division. I think at the moment, we've got 34 IFBB Pro competitors in the men's physique division, which is mental. So, we'll be interested to see if Fildo, Tamas. In fact, Michael, you may as well answer me this. Have you got any men's physique star that could break out next year? Maybe
natural athlete, Munash. He's going to be doing the PCA first timers at the beginning. Very similar to Matt's client is, I think if he was to ever go assisted, I think he'd be going straight into classic. I think he's got wonderful shape. It's crazy story with him. He reached out to me 2 years ago, wasn't in a financial position to hire a coach, and hadn't for 2 years, and then come to me this year, and it's been like, wow, okay, that's a pat on the back. He could have gone out, probably find someone affordable. But yeah, I'm looking forward to him. Another guy, Issam, he won the Two Bros overall Scotland back at the beginning of the year. I'm hoping he's in a position to go for it again this year, because I think if we travelled this year, he got sloppy towards the end of his season. Couldn't quite nail diet down to a T, especially on show day. But I'd like to see him back on stage again next year. However, I think he's going down the route of trying to build a family now. So yeah, Munash would be my go-to on men's physique.
Nice one. All right, guys. So what I want to do is I'm going to just go in alphabetical order in regards to the Pro Coach of the Year awards. And like I said, I'm really keen to hear your feedback, given the fact that look, you three are top coaches in your own right as well. Unreal results consistently year on year, and of course that's why the public also voted for you guys to be nominated for the People's Coach of the Year award. So I'm really keen to hear your thoughts, especially with your experiences with the coaches and the work they've done with their clients. No doubt some of the competitors they have are ones that you've been up against with your own clientele. So with the Pro Coach of the Year, the big thing for ourselves is what we look at is it's not just about, they got the best result at the highest stage, like the Olympia. It's very much looking at what they specialize in and the results they have achieved with what they specialize in. So, for example, if somebody focused purely on PCA, then I'm expecting to see the best possible results with the PCA. If you're just focusing purely on the natural route, then I want to see the best possible results on the naturals. Same with if you're focusing just on IFBB and no other federation, then yes, I'm expecting to see a lot. Now, of course, if you're doing multiple federations, then of course I would like to see a good mixture of results, but I imagine it won't be at the highest level if somebody is just purely focusing on IFBB. So I'm really keen to hear your feedback on this. I'm going to try to touch on all of you guys for each person. So in alphabetical order, Michael, if you want to start with here, because I know you got a few natural competitors. AJ Morris. So
I don't think I've ever seen this guy miss a show. I don't think, like, from a coaching point, I think AJ is an amazing person. He's someone I very much still look up to. If I'm ever in the same room as him, like at a show, I'll always try and have a conversation. I'll always see kind of like how the peak went with that particular athlete or what thing he's got on. Always want to be there to listen to AJ. And every show that I've attended that he's had someone at, he's been there. You can see through his photos, just some of the international shows he's been at, he's been there. The relationships he seems to have with his athletes when it shows, it very much shows that interaction they have. So yeah, he was in my top 5 of this.
Matt, Guy, I mean, have you guys come across AJ, or maybe some of your competitors have in the past?
Go on, Guy, you go first, mate.
Did you that? No.
Sorry, Guy, we lose you quite a bit.
Yeah, so I think. No, I don't recognise him, if I'm honest. So, is he more natural shows?
Yeah, so obviously AJ very much focuses on the natural shows. So a lot, obviously, he's got his collaboration event with UK DFBA through the Natural Bodybuilder Worldwide, and then of course very much focusing on the natural scene, as that is very much his specialty and what he focuses on. I mean, for yourself, Matt, how about yourself?
Yeah, so I am similar to Guy. I know who AJ is. Of course, I know who AJ is, but I don't tend to. We're in different circles. So he's WNBF, UK FBA. My natural competitors, they compete in PCA now that they do it, and Two Bros as well, in the NPC circuit. So I have had clients do WNBF and UK FBA in the past, but it's more rare for me. So I've not actually personally met AJ, but I've seen his work. He's very, very good at what he does. Very, very niched, of course, to natural bodybuilding. And yeah, like Michael said, like it's very rare that I've seen him miss with a client. Like his clients that he puts on stage always comes in like super peeled. He's very consistent and he works with very high level athletes, hence why he's on the Pro Coach of the Year. So he deserves to be there for sure. But yeah, different circles to myself.
Yeah, so obviously starting BTS TV, obviously I had to focus a lot more attention on the natural scene. I really got to know AJ as well as the other competitors, other shows. So, I mean, to summarize for himself, been very successful with the INBA, which obviously it's their pro affiliation with PNBA, the same thing. Secure a lot of PNB pro cards, WNBF pro cards, not just in the UK but internationally, to show that he is able to transition from getting results in the UK, but also on the international circuit with different judges. His standout client this year has been Ben Lloyd, who has had he's about 4 or 5 different natural federations, taking 2 overall wins, and it is in our top 5 for natural athlete of the year. So I guess when I look at AJ is to see those results across different natural federations while also winning pro status in many of them, shows that obviously there is a really good understanding across all federations, and with next year being an even bigger year on the natural scene. I mean, Matt, you know that as much as anybody else, with the most recent announcement for Tyler Mannion. I'm interested to see how he transitions maybe his coaching and the clients going into potential NPC and IFBB natural shows.
That's exactly what I was about to say, because I only tend to see him do those 2 federations. I haven't really seen him do many others. So, yeah, it will be interesting, especially with PCA, announcing more natural shows and the finals as well. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if I see him at any of those shows.
Michael, Callum, I know you guys have had some dealings in the past. Callum also makes our top 10 pro coach of the year. Keen to hear your thoughts here about Callum and maybe some insight from yourself.
He's the corporation coach of the year, and he is literally worldwide now. Me and Cal obviously go back a long way. He was the guy that actually pushed me to take the leap into coaching, having been on a gym floor when we trained together. So again, I hold a lot of respect to Cal, and you only have to scroll his page and see how, like again here, this particular one, 8 shows and just consistently turning up in shape and finally got his card. In the years I've known Cal, he has been someone that has inspired the hell out of me, motivated me, made me do more. Like when we used to train together, arriving at his ass, and he'd always turn up for training late, and because he was still giving back to his clients. He'd finish a session early, get back to his clients. So I think a lot of my problem with why I don't train as much anymore has come from watching him drop his sessions. So he deserves to be up there. I think again with what he's done within his team, like Zach, he's made it to the pro coach of the year. And when Zach first joined pro coach, he probably would have not been in that position he's at now. So I think again what he's done with Zach and what he's done with the other coaches on his team, he deserves praise there because he's helped people better themselves through what he's done and what he's built. So yeah, incredible.
Matt, Guy, anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, it's in his name, isn't it? He's literally the pro coach. He's, I guess, everyone knows him in the industry, so that's a good thing straight away off the bat. And like Fox was saying, he's now got other coaches that are also at the top of the game under him. So yeah, I mean, yeah, his results speak for themselves. So I mean, he's got to be in contention to win that award.
Matt, I know obviously one of the clients in Tyler Smith you're a big fan of. What's your thoughts and with Callum, and where would you have it ranked in that top 10?
So Callum's he's got the name, right? He is one of the biggest, easily, like if anyone thinks of a UK coach, like if you want to be a top level athlete, you think of Cal, but you'd think of Cal in NPC and IFBB. You don't think of Cal in PCA. You don't think of Cal in any natural federations. I haven't seen him in any of those, but he's very, very specialized towards NPC and IFBB, and he's very, very good at that. Obviously, he did a fantastic job with Niall, getting into top 16 in the Olympia, made many pros this year, and he's got many IFBB pros on his books. So in terms of IFBB, NPC, like he's the man. He's the pro coach for that. And I think he's going to be for a long time. I do think there's other coaches that are catching up with him. For example, Zach, one of his own coaches. Zach has had a tremendous year. I know we'll get onto him in a minute, but this is my point as well. Callum does seem very business orientated too. So I don't know if that's going to potentially hold him back in future. I don't know, because it is interesting to see sort of like the transition of him building the brand, like Guy and like Michael said about the brand. They built the brand, which is really cool to see. But will it impact the coaching long term? That'll be interesting to find out.
Yeah, so kind of summarize on the calendar, as we know, very much focusing on the IFBB Pro Route and, of course, NPC. It's securing, I think it's 3 to 4 pro cards this year. I know he's up there with him and Rob LRF in regards to the most number of IB pro cards secured by UK coach. And, of course, results-wise, look, Niall being the standout one, winning Toronto, and, of course, getting my top 12 placing in Olympia does hold him on high stead. And then also seeing the emergence of Mitch Starr in America, Tyler Smith coming very close, Michael Kent. I'm trying to think of some of the other females that he coaches on a pro level. I know there's Chloe Pickford in the wellness. So I might be missing a couple of the other females, which I know he does coach, and I'm sure they're probably competing in 2025, sorry. So on a results perspective on what he delivers for IP NPC, yes, 100% he's up there because he is performing on the highest levels and having that consistent results in the pro shows. Touching away from Cal and away from IFBB is somebody else who is delivering a consistent result in the federation that he chooses to focus more on, even though he has had a couple of people compete over at Two Bros this year, one of them being Val Steele, is Dan Welburn. So, Guy, I'm going to go to you first, mate, because obviously you've got a strong history with the PCA, being very successful over there. Talk to me about Dan Welburn.
So again, Dan's obviously so specialised in females. Obviously, any female he seems to win literally any show they do. He is obviously mainly in the PCA, but I think that's because of his PCA background. He's registered PCA and he's criteria for the class. But it's any female. Let's put it this way: if my partner, she's female, I would send her to Dan because he just seems to get the results. I think in this awards, in my eyes, two standout winners, but there's a male and there's a female. That makes sense. As a coach, usually definitely win for his female clients, and then we'll get on to the other one who should win the male, in my eyes. But what he seems to do with his clients is amazing. Well, I was with over at Georgia, being coached by Dan. But he's there. He seems to get right to the basics and it works. So his stats and his numbers. I'd like to do a few more Two Bros, like, do you know what I mean, IFBB. Because he obviously does do loads with the PCA, but obviously that's where he specialises in, so he's probably going to stick with that.
Yeah, I agree. Michael, obviously, I know you've got plenty of people compete over at the PCA that have been successful. What's your thoughts on Dan Welburn, of course, being look, he delivers the most results on a female perspective. That's without a doubt. Talk about your thoughts.
There's no denying it, mate. If you know that Dan Welburn's got a female in one of the categories your client's in, there's a part of you that's concerned whether your client's going to even get first place. There's always like, Jesus Christ. Okay, then let's fight for second. He doesn't miss it. Is like you've seen him in. I think he's in the People's Coach of the Year as well, isn't he? Like, so he's very likable amongst his athletes, and the thing is that again, he absolutely smashes it. There hasn't been a single conversation I've had with Dan that I haven't walked away smiling, or he's got a lot of time for everyone. We went out to the Worlds, and it's not often that I sit back and watch other classes and predominantly just focus on the ones my clients are in, but I had to sit there and watch, and I saw this lady here take the pro card, and when she was out in Amsterdam competing, she'd improved from that to that, and he doesn't miss. I don't know how he does it at shows with how many, like I've heard him have like up to 20 people in one show. I've heard him have 10 across the day, girls in multiple classes, and sometimes like coaching a female, especially when you've got them in other classes with females, can be quite hard. And he seems to deal with that week on week.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to expand on that. I absolutely agree, especially because if you think about it, he judges a lot as well. So he shows, and he's got clients, if they do compete in other federations, and he still does very, very well. Like, I don't know how he does it either, but he manages it. The thing is with Dan, like, you know what you're going to get. And it's funny that Michael said that. Like, if Dan's got a client in the show, you're kind of like, you know what to expect. Me and George always joke about it. We say, we look at who's won, and we're like, oh, is it Dan Welburn's client? Oh, yeah, because it's pretty much like that.
when he had Val Steele at I think it was Zach's Two Bros show at the beginning of October. Like when she came out, it was like, wow. And she just won. I think she just won a PCA show shortly before, and the almost the similarity in the look, but just the change of fullness that she brought from the PCA to the Two Bros and how complete she looked I think it was just amazing because sometimes when you've got, especially with females, and they're chasing different federations, and you're almost trying to ditto it. You're almost like, right, I need to match this criteria. I need to do this. I need to do that. Sometimes it's impossible. But again, it's doable. I've done it a lot this year. But Dan, as I say, he doesn't miss. There's a few of my friends who are females that are coached by him. I've had the ability. Last year, I had the chance to work with Hannah Bowden. She was with Dan. She moved from Dan to Brad, and then she moved from Brad to myself. And when we had the conversation, I said, "You need to go back to where it worked. You need to go back to Dan." And she eventually did. But in that time of working with Hannah, and I was always open to saying, like, what worked when you was with Dan? Like, what can we take from that experience and implement it here to make your experience better? And there was never a single comment made about Dan practices that made me question it. And I think that's always nice because when you're working with another coach's individual, you sometimes question their theories, but everything I've ever heard from him has been spot on.
Well, let me just touch base on that then. So to summarise that well, but I think, yeah, without a doubt, the results speak for themselves with PCA. And look, if he chooses that his niche is on the female side and focus on PCA, then why would you move away? Because right now, the traffic with clients is probably non-stop when it comes to PCA. And with PCA expanding into more natural shows and more shows than ever before, that's really going to expand his business. But what's also interesting to see is that when he does have clients jump into other federations, they are also getting results. We mentioned Val Steele winning the ZF Classic. Frankie, who won the Universe figure in the Pro Division, she did the Two Bros regional and won overall there. We got Natalie Crockford, who went undefeated with NABA, having already won numerous classes and won the Pro Status with PCA. So I would love to see more of his clients also jumping into other federations, having been successful over there and trying some of the other ones. But really, I mean, if he's got a clear direction, a clear pathway for his clients in regards to PCA pro ranks, I'm not surprised that he doesn't go into that direction. So all that is taken into account. But look, in regards to PCA, he is clearly the standout coach. The next one I want to bring up, and this is a chap who is probably one of the favourites because he has been in my Coach of the Week, which features 3 coaches at a time, and that is Jace. Matt, I'll start with yourself, mate, because I know you're a big fan of what Jace is doing.
Yeah. Mate, Jace is a top guy. I've known Jace for a couple of years now. We always speak. Like, he is just a really, really nice guy, and he puts a lot of work into his clients as well. Like, he is actually one of the, because I've recently started working with Martin, but for me, it was between Martin, Jace, and actually Zach, who I was going to start working with, because I see the effort and the passion that he puts into his clients. And one thing that I really respect about coaches, and on a pro level and an amateur level, is the fact that they go to their clients' shows. And I've seen Jace at many different federations supporting his clients, not just one federation, which I think is really, really good. And you can't deny the results he's getting. Like you said, Coach of the Week consistently. He's got many IFBB Pro cards this year. Obviously, Elliot taking the Worlds there. And just across the board. And what also is really good about Jace is it's not just 1 or 2 divisions like Kaya there. So open bodybuilding, classic, wellness, bikini, men's physique. He does it all across all the different federations, which is quite a challenging task. So yeah, he's one of my favorites, top 3 for me.
Guy, what's your thoughts there, mate?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was with Jace when
you were, yeah.
How I sort of started my coaching world, which I was with Team Jace. And yeah, so then I used to see in the background what was actually going on, because obviously we used to be in group chats with all the clients, and it is that he's always there. He's one of those people that even though he had so many clients and so much on, he still had the time. Like, you'd think the clients he wouldn't have the time, he always did, but he would still have the time. If I rung him or if we were out for food, he'd be on his phone. He'd be instantly replying to his clients always, and that's why he's getting the results. I agree with Matt as well. I think he's he's the overall coach. Do you know what I mean? So like we were saying with Dan, so Dan, the females, the person we're going to go on to, I think, is Martin. I think Martin's the, if you're a male, you go at Martin. But if you're just an all-rounder, like Jason will just do everyone. So, which is the biggest skill in my eyes, because if you can prep a bodybuilder, you prep a bodybuilder. If you can prep a female for bikini, for example, you can specialise in that. It's a lot easier. But where Jason's doing it all, it's harder work. Really, you've got to take your to that.
Excuse me.
Michael, mate. Obviously, I'm sure some of your clients have come up against Jace. Talk to me there, mate.
I can't argue with either of the guys. I had the pleasure of seeing again Jace. You see him at every show his clients are at. I was coming back from Amsterdam, and we were both at the airport at the same time, and we sat and shared a conversation. And he was at his laptop, and he was doing reverse plans for the individuals that finished. He was talking. I was asking him about shows he'd got, and he'd obviously got the Two Bros Naturals finals and all of this, and it was, you know what, like you cannot lie passion. It's in your voice. You speak to someone, and you're asking them about a client, and the tone of voice changes. It's like they're living that person's life for them in that tone, and Jace is probably top 2 for me in this. I think seeing the results, I stood watching his wellness athlete on the stage at the Worlds, and he made the comment of where that particular person had placed, and it wasn't first, and he was very kind of like honest with what he felt was needed. And sometimes you see a lot of cheerleaders in this industry. They're not willing to make comment on what's gone wrong. They're just straight away blame this, blame that, and he was quite literally just on it. And I think that's very, very motivating as someone to look up to. Seeing that where there's flaws and where there's successes, he's willing to admit it all. He's got my vote.
Yeah, so to summarise for Jace, we do the Coach of the Week, which also features 3 coaches. No first, second, third, just 3 coaches who get the best results. And Jace has been there in the last top 4 weeks with back-to-back pro cards, really, the last 3 weeks. Dwayne, RX, now Laura Force in wellness. And I guess with Jace, what's good to see is the consistency of results. We're seeing, obviously, Adrian came back after a few years hiatus to take the pro win over the British finals. Obviously, the work he does with Elliot. Yes, he's got international competitors too, but once again, as Matt pointed out, it's that all-round that it's males and females, and it's across the board, across PCA, Two Bros, MPC shows, and now, of course, starting to do more IFBB Pro shows, which I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing as he achieves more and more IFBB pro competitors, and maybe some existing pro competitors make over to Jace, is to see what those results look like when it comes to pro show. Now, of course, last year, he had a competitor compete over Olympia in I can't remember the wellness girl, but she won it. So overall, look, he's definitely one of the contenders when it comes to taking that top space based on the consistency of results and doing it week in, week out. Another coach that made the top 10 is Josh McHale. So I will start with you, Michael. Because of course, he has competitors compete across the board, week in, week out, not just in PCA Two Bros, but I've had numerous competitors compete over my previous federation, which is no longer going anymore. Michael, do you want to start off here?
It's a small circle with Josh. Like, I know a lot of his athletes. I share conversation with them. They all speak so highly of him. Very much, I think everyone now has kind of like team. And seeing what he's done over the past couple of years to build a team. He's got other coaches working under him. He's built them up. One of his clients, I know, Kate, we shared a taxi from the airport in the Worlds, and we was talking about her prep and the amount of time she complimented and bigged Josh up. As again, it's just lovely to see, because sometimes you'll share conversations about people's coaches and there is some trash talk, but never heard a negative word being said about Josh. He's at all the shows. I think I remember once he was in, I think it was Poland with one of his athletes. It was bikini, and he was there till like 3-4 in the morning because it was on late, and he got like a really early flight the next day. He almost missed it, and it was like, There you go. He's done the job. He's predominantly, I think he's predominantly female as well, isn't he? Like Dan. Got the odd guy. I think Josh, who he coaches.
Josh won pro card.
Yeah. And he's another coach under his brand, and he's a phenomenal coach as well. Jody, she's done magnificent under him, and she's doing well under his coaching brand. Yeah, you know what? Like, there's not anyone in that top 10 I could really make a negative comment on. But I'll say that what always I like to highlight is the fact that these guys are going out the way to be at the show. They're seen at the show, being present. They're not just hovering around on their phone or, do you know what I mean, trying to catch the eye of another athlete. They're there with their athlete.
Guy, Matt, do you want to finish off with Josh?
He was very good. That men's physique athlete, I remember seeing him at the show. I think him and Josh and AJ are the two that I personally don't know very well. I haven't actually had a conversation with either of those two. I know all the others. And again, I think it's just because, like Michael said, he's mainly female-based, a lot of competitors. So it's just different circles. I have had a couple of clients up against his. I know DeMonte's one of his clients. And she might have been the one that did a really late Poland show. And she's been against Georgia a few times, and he does a great job with her. But again, I don't know too many of his clients, so I can't really comment too much on Josh.
Do you want to finish off, Guy?
Yeah, because we're down the southwest. I do know of him, but I'm not I don't know his clients. But just for the picture you said there, he's got a big range. Do you know what I mean? He's got males, females. He's doing it himself. That's how I know him. But yeah, I think it's because me and Matt are down south. We don't know some of the up top coaches. But
so just
those pictures have got a nice range.
Yeah,
I know him as a body coach.
Yeah, of course. He's been very successful on the bodybuilding side of PCA. But in regards to as a coach, I think the key thing for myself once again is to see what both Matt and Michael nailed is the fact that he's always there. Whenever he's had the clients compete at NFBK, he's always been there for shows. And though getting consistent results with PCA, he's always getting very high results at FitX, NABA, myself. And of course, a standout competitor for himself this year was taking on board Maya, who was very successful in her rookie year over in America as an IP pro with wellness, taking top 4 in both American shows that she's done. And of course, that's major changes in her physique, making her very competitive. And we look forward to see what she does in 2025. What we're going to do, the next person, I'll start with you, Matt, because this is one person who has had a successful year in the Olympia with Megan and Rhea, and that is Cuba.
Yeah, so Cuba, obviously he's a competitive bodybuilder himself. And I don't know, obviously AJ still competes, but I don't know if any of the others still compete. So that in itself, I think is pretty cool, the fact that he still competes and he still coaches at a really high level. But speaking specifically about his coaching, yeah, absolutely right. So obviously 2 very high-pacing Olympians, very much NPC IFBB dominant. Personally, I haven't actually ever seen him at a show before, unless he was competing himself. So I haven't seen him at like PCA or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure he's very niche. But what he is niched at is very good.
What about yourself, Michael?
Again, Matt, like I saw Cuba in Milan. Then this past weekend, I saw Meg. She was in Spain. I think she was looking after.
She had Anya.
Yeah,
Anya, Mark.
Yeah, Mark. And again, he doesn't miss. One of my good friends, Ali Frazier, was coached by him earlier this year. So it's very rare I've spoken to any of Cuba's clients, but Ali had nothing but good things to say about him. Ali did his show. Ali did a couple of other shows, and he spoke very highly of him. His communication, his expectation, how he works a lot around people's structure. He doesn't believe that there isn't enough hours in the day. He's very kind of pushy on you can get shit done, and he shows that with again, you look at his content. He delivers a lot of informative stuff, and I think excellent. He did amazing with Rhea. Rhea's probably one of my favorite figure athletes. If I'm honest, I saw her. I saw Meg and Cuba out in Vegas at the Olympia. Megan obviously just got a place in. You saw the support both from a coach and a partner perspective after that. So I can't make as much comment on Cuba as I can the others because I don't see him across the year at shows and stuff.
And Guy, do you want to finish off on Cuba? Anything to add?
The biggest thing I like with Cuba, I think, is that he's still doing it. Do you know what I mean? He's a high level athlete himself. He's IFBB pro. He's still doing pro shows whilst coaching. I think with his clients as well, I think he has a smaller niche of clients, but they're all at a very high level. Like you don't see, like people say, that many amateurs, the lower shows. I mean, obviously he's still there, but he's got clients in there. But I think he's just got that high percentage of top level athletes, which is obviously a good thing for his name because it shows that they're trusting him and putting their trust in him. But the only girl at my gym was with him, Meg. They very highly. She's been with him for years. So definitely good coach. I like the fact that he's doing it. A lot of coaches. He's still
Guy, your signal's getting worse, mate.
Normally, I want to speak. Yeah, that's like.
But look, I'm just going to finish off on Cuba. And look, I think that the standout ones, of course, is Rhea taking 5th place for Olympia. Of course, Megan breaking into that top 15 at Olympia also. We've seen the work of it with Mark Hector taking 4th this weekend. So we're seeing the results. If we look at any coach, when it comes to the highest possible result, he does have the highest possible result in regards to the highest Olympic finish. But of course, as a whole, we are also looking at the consistency and also the variety. And with myself being at NPC and IFBB, we are seeing like the highest results. But I guess for me is also, I'm looking at the coaching perspective, are we seeing enough of them? And we are seeing a lot of his pro competitors get in there as well. We obviously see, I forgot the other classic competitor I competed in Spain a few weeks ago. But you can't ignore what he's done, especially with Rhea now having the highest ever placing for a female competitor on the Olympia stage. And we just see who else he has over there, especially with what happens next with Mark Hector. Matt, I'm going to start with you, mate, for the next one because it is your coach, and that's Martin.
Yeah, Martin is. Yeah, he's phenomenal, mate. Like I said earlier, a lot of males, if you're a male bodybuilder, you're going to be looking at Martin. It's interesting enough, though, that he's not actually had an Olympian yet, which I think he really deserves one. I think he's just got a bit unlucky because he's got a really good roster of athletes. And the reason why I went to him personally, mate, is because the passion that he has. That he's got unbelievable passion for the sport. When his guys gets the pro cards, he's just as happy as they are. He's absolutely buzzing for them. He goes to a lot of shows. I've seen him at PCA shows. I've seen him at obviously lots of NPC, IFBB shows. He travels all around the world for them as well. And the results that he gets is obviously the most important thing. And they're really, really good results. Like I said, he hasn't had an Olympian yet, but all the clients that he does have, they level up and go up through the ranks. And that's the most important thing to me when I'm looking for a coach, for example, and anyone that goes to him is the work that they're doing. Are those athletes leveling up? And with Martin's clients, they absolutely are. If you only look at Alex Lord, what he's done with Alex Lord, probably his best transformation. Mate, it's absolutely mental, the amount of muscle tissue that guy put on in a year. And he was already a really well-trained athlete, So for someone that's already really well-trained, knowledgeable, has everything locked in, and it's still put on that much muscle in a year. Like, you can't deny, that is some high-level coaching, and of course, like Alex Lord putting the work in. The combination is just very, very good.
Michael, Guy, just finish off on Martin, because I know we're a bit short of time.
Yeah, I think I agree. Martin's the male coach in my eyes now. Like Matt said, Olympians, I think that's just because but I remember when he was in that. You got me.
We're losing you quite a bit, mate.
Yeah. But I think Martin's the coach for me. I don't know.
Oh, Guy, it's getting worse, mate.
Top 3.
Okay, I think I've made out what Guy said in regards to looking at top 3 and definitely the male coach. And Michael, what about yourself, mate?
Again, mate, I don't think I've seen him miss a show. I don't think I've seen a physique on stage you've made a negative comment on. He doesn't miss. I know a few people coached by him, and they all speak very highly of him. His level of detail is there. I've been to workshops where he's had discussions at, and I've walked away very like, right, okay, there's far more I want to learn with this, and it comes seeing again, this photo declares it, how passionate he is, how happy he is doing what he's doing. And I'd like to, if I ever had a question for him, it'd be, do you ever get tired? Like, do you have days where you really cannot be asked? Because looking at him when I see him, like I saw him this weekend at Spain, I think he had 3 athletes, Lewis, Mark, and then another guy, and they all look phenomenal. Like, again, to see Mark, I've followed Mark Joyce a lot, and over the years, and this is probably the best he's ever looked.
So look, to summarise on Martin, I mean, look, you all nailed it. And look, Matt, you obviously coached by himself, and all speak highly about him. And the results have been phenomenal this year, not just obviously with IPB, but also seeing the work he did with Alex. Alex now the leader when it comes to PCA, winning the World Championship, beating Lubos, who was also the most successful PCA bodybuilder, pro bodybuilder within PCA ranks, and of course winning numerous pro cards within IPB. So I think the next step definitely for him is seeing who it gets to go over to compete over Olympia, to join coaches like Zach, Jace, and Cal, who've all had clients over there. But once again, it is the consistency of the results. It is the results are happening week in, week out. You guys are all hammered at home straight away. The main point, he's always at the show, showing that passion, showing that support. So that does play a key factor. The next coach here, guys, is up there as probably one of the most successful coaches, if not the most successful coach, when it comes to winning IFBB Pro cards. So, Michael, I'll start with you again, mate. Rob Whitfield from LRF.
You know what? When I've seen Rob at shows, again, he's barely not at shows. If he's not, Charlotte is over half is. And one of my first successes as a coach of winning the show, Rob stood at the side of me and he says, "Your client's got it, mate. Well done. This should be the momentum you need now to push on." And hearing that from someone as successful as Rob helped a lot. And again, he doesn't miss, like you've seen him here. Like this past weekend, I think he took the pro card in bikini, did he?
Yeah, for Alicia.
And I've had consults with individuals and dickhead. They've ended up saying, "Oh, I've gone with Rob. He's just got more results and his portfolio bigger." But again, I couldn't be happy for the individual because you know they're going to be looked after.
Yeah, I can expand on that. Yeah, he's a nice chap, and I agree. Like I see him at loads and loads of shows, and we always talk whenever I see him. And the thing is, a lot of people see him as a bikini coach, but he's got some other great competitors as well, particularly in
Isaac Francis.
Yeah, Isaac Francis, and he's great, and a few amateurs as well. One guy I'm actually really excited to see what he does next year is Samson. He did really well at the Universe this year.
Yeah,
best I've seen him. He looked phenomenal at that show. I was front row watching him battle between him and Ike, and he could easily turn IFBB Pro if they nail it next year. So that'll be good. But yeah, Rob's consistent, and again, he works across multiple federations, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, so once again with Rob, 26 IFBB Pro cards. I hope that's correct. If I'm not correct, I know he will correct me, which does quite a bit when I do make my mistakes. But once again, yeah, seeing pro cards across the board on the IFBB and also PCA here. PCA, you got 2 pro cards at the same time. Obviously, this weekend with Alicia, and I guess the only thing I probably would mention is obviously with him, I've always seen previous years where he's had competitors on the pro circuit. Of course, Charlotte coming second over in Asia and 4th again. So I don't know if this year has been a bit more lighter on the number of competitors on the pro circuit, because I've always seen him as one of those where he would always have consistent athletes. Of course, Isaac Francis is back next year. Did Isaac compete this year, or was it last year? It was last year, yeah. So, I mean, look, if you talk about consistency when it comes to winning IP Pro cards, then you drop Rob's name 26 Cypher Pro cards to his name, shows that longevity, which is why he is in that top 10. We're coming to the last two guys, so I will just jump on these two. I know we just lost Guy because of his signal. But the next one is Tom Hames. So, Matt, do you want to start with Tom?
Yeah, Tom's he's very much niching towards bodybuilders and NPC and IFBB. I think that's his passion. You can kind of tell it, like from all his posts and when you speak to him as well. That's what he's mainly passionate about. But he does have some fantastic female clients as well, and he does have female clients and male clients across multiple federations. But I think his main goal and his main drive, I think he even may have done a post about it today, is he wants to have an Olympian winner. Like that's what his goal is, and you can kind of tell that with his content. But it's quite cool that he does coach across multiple different categories. But I would say his niche is definitely classic and mainly open guys. And he's fantastic at it. He's very, very good at it. He's again consistent. I see him at a lot of shows. He travels a lot, and yeah, he's got a lot of great results this year.
Michael, do you want to finish off on Tom?
I very much early in my coaching career spent a lot of time on consult calls with Tom. Always very helpful, and he doesn't sugarcoat things. He just gets it straight to the point rather than trying to sound intellectual as such. I've seen him at many shows. I'm very close friends with one of his athletes and coaches, Emery. He speaks highly of him. The results speak for themselves. Again, like Matt said, he is very much fishing towards more the male bodybuilding time now, but he has had a lot of success in a lot of categories. I saw a very good wellness athlete earlier in the year in Scotland. Unfortunately, there wasn't any other competition there for her, but he nailed that. Again, the young lad, the youngest classic IFBB pro on his team.
Jack Eagles, yeah.
Yeah, he's done an outstanding job with him. Johnny, he did an amazing job with him. He doesn't. Again, if Tom puts a post up saying he's got an athlete competing at the weekend, he's not going to miss.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are excited for Jack Eagles to compete next year. That's going to be interesting.
But I actually feel like a lot of disrespect there. That I couldn't say his name.
I think to summarize on Tom, I mean, look, yes, there's some of the standout ones this year has been Connor winning the Open Pro card in Japan, Josh Warren winning the pro card over at the FBC Europeans, just won the PCA overalls as well. It looks absolutely phenomenal. But yes, once again, we're seeing that consistency of results. I know next year he's got some big hitters. Kira coming back in the IFA Pro ranks. Obviously, Johnny will be back next year. Jack Eagles in making his proper pro debut, which looks like it's going to be Detroit. Is there a bit of background noise while talking? I hear my
it's a little bit, not much.
Okay. But yeah, look, once again with Tom, phenomenal year. We've seen the results, consistency, which obviously is key. We see him at a lot of the shows when it comes to the NPC and PCA. So, yeah, without a doubt, he's one up there. I guess the question is, has he performed the results of the same level or above? People like
he's had a quiet year this year in comparison to many.
I think, I don't see him break into the top three. He definitely well deserves to be in the top 10 because we always got to look at the results in the past year. I do think that there have been some better results, but you can't take away from what he's delivered this year. And obviously, a standout for me has been Connor Fairburn, who has been so close with that pro card, and to finally get it is very much well deserved. The last one, we'll start with you, Matt, because I know you love your men's physique, and that is the guy who notoriously wins pro cards in the men's physique division. And I'm not meaning to throw any shy away from any of the work he's done before, but Zach. Talk about Zach.
Wow, what a season Zach's had. I think this is really, really this season. He was always a great coach, but this season has really established him as one of the best coaches in the UK, in my opinion. It is a phenomenal season. Again, not just men's physique either. He's got a few other great competitors, but
Junior and classic.
Julio looks amazing, for example. But I think he is still mainly men's physique. But the thing is with Zach now, and if you just look across the last few posts he's done, like he's getting a lot of IFBB pros going to him as well. So he's got the momentum. I personally think Zach will be the pro coach, like moving into the next few years, the guy to go to. Obviously, he did a fantastic job with Addo. I did look back. I know we spoke about it on the last few episodes ago. Addo was the second most highest placing men's physique guy in the UK. He beat Emil. Emil was on the outside of third call-outs. Addo was in the middle. And that's his, obviously, Olympia debut, which is really, really good. That was his first Olympia athlete, and I have no doubts he will have more in the future. Just his athletes just absolutely nail it. And what's also cool, last thing about Zach, is a lot of the guys that were going for pro cards for ages, doing loads and loads of shows, they stuck with Zach because that they're a good coach when they stick with them. Just because they didn't quite get the result. But if the coaching service is there, they stay with them. And those guys like Matt LeMay, for example, they eventually got that pro card. And it's great to see.
Michael.
I think there's not a person I couldn't be as happy for than Zach. Knowing like Zach's upbringing a little bit, knowing him, watching him as an athlete over the years of when he was a big part of like Neil Hill and stuff. Just knowing him, and I can't be. I think if he took this title, I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't shock me in the slightest, just because I know how much he deserves it, and I know how hard he works. Again, you've got to just see results like this. I've seen him in multiple shows, and again, something that always hits close with me is the relationship and the communication with an athlete. And his clients love him. They genuinely do. They respect him. They're there for him. I remember seeing this guy in Sweden when he got his pro card, and then seeing how he progressed once he turned pro. He moved away from his previous coach and went with Zach, and seeing the level of progress and seeing how that friendship built with him and Zach. This guy, again, I saw him earlier on this year at the WMBF, and he's been with Zach a very, very long time. And to see him get this title here was amazing to see, and it shows you what, again, being patient and staying with your coach can do, and it shows that. Yeah,
I think to summarize with Zach, was similar to one of the other coaches that I mentioned. I completely forgot who it was now, but yes, we see the results with men's physique and other classes within the NPC and IFBB ranks. But when he does send another athlete to go to compete in another federation, we saw with Johnny Clough over at PNBA with his pro card. Remy Lane in PCA, winning PCA pro status. Anthony Campbell, who is a natural competitor, having done UKDFBA, and did the two bros to the French natural show this weekend. We're seeing the results from that top level, but of course the bulk is very much on the NPC IP route. And yes, we are seeing a lot of male competitors. I know we got Sophie, who's making a comeback in the IP pro figure next year, who's working under Jack. I hope to see more competitors like that. So with Zach, once again, I mean, he's up there with, if not the top 3 or top 2 in regards to the most IFBB Pro card wins this year, which, yes, he is up there challenging with our top 3. Now, I guess my question to you two, because at the end the panel will decide, I'm really keen to hear your thoughts. Without putting people in order, just the top 3, who would be the top 3 coaches that you feel would make Albo's top 10? So don't need to be first, second, or third. I just need 3 coaches. Michael, I'll start with you.
Go on, yeah. I'll go first. I've got my names already.
I know you got your 3. I know where your 3 are.
Yeah. So if we don't I don't just go by results. I go by everything that we've discussed today. I think that's what makes a really good pro coach. And for me, not in any particular order, it is Martin, it's Zach, and it's Jace.
Fucking hell! Match me. Each one of them to that order. Martin, Zach, Jace.
There we go.
That would be my 3.
Yeah, I think I can't announce my top 3 because, of course, that would just give away the final decision. That would give away the final decision. But what I will say is that, but those three that you mentioned are all up there because the key things, like we say, we look at when it comes to coach of the year, and this goes to really anyone when they are looking to pick the right coach. It's very easy to look at the results they bring to the table, but similar to, like, for example, look, I'm going to bring Michael involved in this. We saw Tom Hames drop a comment in the People's Coach of Award saying that the winner is Michael because of his passion he puts into his clients. But then again, we see that with yourself, Matt, and other coaches, the passion you put in with your clients by traveling. I mean, you're based in the Southwest, so anywhere that you travel is probably another, I don't know how many miles. You probably clock more miles than anybody else with where you live so far, southeast. But sorry, southeast, southwest. But yeah, it's all about at the same time not just the results, but also that those little details of going to your client shows. It's that further support, not just to your clients, but to those people around you. What you put out on your socials. I think with the top 10, we do see a lot of education, a lot of support. Some more than others when it comes to going to shows, and some is maybe certain reasons why they can't. But they all play a part in that overall Coach of the Year, rather than us just looking at who has delivered the highest possible placing. So the winner will be down to the top three in reverse order through the panel on Thursday, because Friday is the People's Coach of the Year Awards, which of course you guys, Guy, and of course the other coaches are all involved in, which is very much focused on the general public, and that's always a nice one to see, really, more than it's just as much as a Pro Coach of the Year award, because that's voted by the public, that's voted by people who may not even be coached by yourself, but have seen your work from social media from a distance. So those awards will all be confirmed on Friday as we shut down the BTS TV Awards this week. But at the same time, we've also got to do the top 10 for the male and female athletes of the year award, which I know I'm going to bring in AJ Kelly for one of them. I'm going to go through that. Fox, I know you got a couple of your clients in the female one, in Lizzie and Sophie.
They're in the same sheet.
Yeah, that's not bringing it down to the rounds. That's just obviously me just putting out there, knowing that I can collab with max 5 people in one go. But look, guys, I really appreciate your time. Obviously, talking about the top 10. Matt, I know we're going to jump back on Thursday to do a recap of the show over Big Man Weekend, which I know, Fox, you and I over there. So we'll reflect.
That's a great show, that is. That's a very good show.
Yeah, looking forward to that recap, guys. So look, guys, really appreciate it, and we'll jump on to the next one on Thursday, and then no doubt, Matt, will probably do a recap on the awards winners next week as well.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
I'll see you in the new year.
Take care.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.